In the history of the UFC's featherweight division, there have been some truly legendary champions, fighters who dominated their era, defended their belts against the toughest competition, and left behind an undeniable legacy. Names like Jose Aldo and Max Holloway are often mentioned in the GOAT conversation, but there's one name that has forced its way into that debate: Alexander the Great Volkanovski. Volkanovski's reign at 145 pounds has been nothing short of legendary.
Expect some big, powerful shots. Here they come.
His mix of elite striking, wrestling, fight IQ, and relentless cardio has made him a nightmare for any challenger.
Night Contender Series. Wow. Sorry, Dana, the shot.
With multiple title defenses, dominant performances, and victories over some of the best fighters in the world, Volkanovski has cemented himself as one of the greatest featherweights of all time. But is he the greatest? Does his resume, skill set, and dominance surpass legends like Jose Aldo and Max Holloway? Today, we break down Volkanovski's legendary title reign and determine whether he truly deserves the title of the featherweight GOAT. The rise of Alexander Volkanovski from underdog to champion. Before we discuss his dominance as champion, we need to understand where he came from. Volkanovski didn't enter the UFC as a high prospect or a top-ranked contender. In fact, many fans and analysts overlooked him early in his career. Born in Australia, Volkanovski had an unconventional path to MMA greatness. Before entering mixed martial arts, he was a rugby player, competing at over 200 pounds before transitioning into fighting. That background gave him a unique blend of strength, speed, and toughness, which he carried into his MMA career.
Ground and pound here from Volkanovski. Is he going to get the stoppage?
When Volkanovski entered the UFC in 2016, few people saw him as a future champion. But fight after fight, he proved the doubters wrong. His relentless pressure, elite cardio, and technical striking helped him build an impressive winning streak, taking out tough opponents like Chad Mendes and Jose Aldo before getting his title shot against Max Holloway. That's when everything changed. The Holloway rivalry, the defining moment of his legacy. No discussion of Volkanovski's greatness is complete without mentioning his epic trilogy with Max Holloway.
Seconds of this championship fight and a late takedown for Volkanovski. The first real takedown.
Before Volkanovski arrived, Holloway was the undisputed king of the featherweight division. He had run through Jose Aldo twice, dominated Brian Ortega, and looked unstoppable. Many believed he would hold the belt for years. But in their first fight at UFC 245, Volkanovski shocked the world. He executed a perfect game plan, using leg kicks, feints, and smart striking to completely neutralize Holloway's pressure and volume striking.
He landed. Oh, look at that. That's good work, Alex.
After 5 rounds, Volkanovski won a clear, unanimous decision, becoming the new featherweight champion. Their rematch at UFC 251 was even more controversial. This time, Holloway adjusted and looked sharp early, winning the first 2 rounds. But Volkanovski, known for his insane fight IQ, made adjustments in the later rounds.
Max has got to be careful that he doesn't coast this round. He got caught with a big one there. That good is it.
Increasing his wrestling and output to sway the judges. He won by split decision, but many fans and analysts debated whether Holloway should have gotten the nod. Then came the trilogy fight at UFC 276, and this was the ultimate statement from Volkanovski. In what can only be described as a flawless performance, he outclassed Holloway for 5 straight rounds, shutting down any doubts about their rivalry.
From Holloway, and here's Volkanovski with a nice left. Good job. Tries to double it up, but Max just slips out the way of the second one.
That fight cemented his status as the best featherweight of his era. This rivalry alone puts Volkanovski's name among the greatest featherweights ever. Holloway wasn't just a great champion, he was an all-time great, and Volkanovski beat him 3 times.
And still the undisputed UFC.
Dominant title defenses, the mark of a true champion. One of the biggest arguments for Volkanovski being the featherweight GOAT is his dominance as champion. He didn't just win the belt, he defended it against the best fighters in the division and continued to improve every fight.
looking for a dark horse in this UFC featherweight division, perhaps New South Wales' Alexander Volkanovski.
His title defenses include Brian Ortega, UFC 266. This fight showcased Volkanovski's heart and resilience. Ortega nearly finished him with a tight guillotine choke, but Volkanovski miraculously survived, escaped, and dominated the rest of the fight to retain his belt.
Alexander the Great Volkanovski!
Korean Zombie, UFC 273, a one-sided masterclass. Volkanovski was levels above Zombie, landing clean shots at will and forcing a TKO stoppage in the 4th round.
Volkanovski, he could walk on anything he thought a champion in terms of the leg.
Yeah, exactly.
Yair Rodriguez, UFC 290, another statement performance. Volkanovski used his elite grappling to neutralize Rodriguez's dangerous striking.
He was a big asset during this camp.
Yep, nice takedown by Volk.
Securing a dominant TKO victory. With each defense, Volkanovski showed new levels to his game, proving he could adapt to any style and dominate different types of opponents.
Where you fought another kid. If Alex had won a ton of fights for the kid he fought had a ton of fights. What was the kid's name?
You mean his first loss? You're talking
No, I'm talking about in the UFC.
Skill set. Why Volkanovski is one of the most complete fighters ever. What makes Volkanovski so dominant? It all comes down to his well-rounded skill set. Striking. He isn't the hardest puncher, but his precision, timing, and speed make him one of the best strikers in the UFC. His leg kicks, jabs, and feints disrupt opponents' rhythm, while his head movement and footwork allow him to avoid damage.
for Volk! Oh, Rodriguez really hurt now, covering up. Massive takedown transition.
Volk is going for it.
Cardio and pressure. Volkanovski's gas tank is insane. He can fight at a high pace for 5 rounds without slowing down, constantly pressuring opponents and forcing them to make mistakes. Wrestling and grappling. He might not be a pure wrestler like Islam Makhachev, but Volkanovski has elite takedown defense and strong top control. He mixes in wrestling when needed, as seen in his fight against Yair Rodriguez.
Oh my goodness.
Yair's in real trouble.
Yeah, he is.
That's it.
It's over.
Fight IQ. This might be his most underrated weapon. Volkanovski's ability to make adjustments mid-fight is what separates him from other fighters. He adapts to his opponent's style, exploits weaknesses, and always has a plan B and plan C.
He's wearing a Band-Aid. But this is what Yair needs to do. More kicks from range.
When Yair gets kicking on the outside.
This combination of skills makes him one of the most complete fighters in UFC history, not just at featherweight, but in any division. Volkanovski versus Jose Aldo. Who's the true featherweight GOAT? The biggest debate when discussing Volkanovski's legacy is how he compares to Jose Aldo. Aldo's resume is legendary. He was the first UFC Featherweight Champion and ruled the division for nearly a decade. He defended his title 7 times, with dominant wins over names like Chad Mendes, Frankie Edgar, and Ricardo Lamas. He went undefeated for nearly 10 years before losing to Conor McGregor. So, does Volkanovski surpass Aldo? Quality of opposition. Volkanovski has fought a more stacked division, with multiple wins over Holloway, Ortega, and Rodriguez. Dominance in title defenses. Aldo had more defenses, but Volkanovski has been more dominant in his performances. Head-to-head win. Volkanovski defeated Aldo when they fought, which strengthens his case. While Aldo might still hold the edge in terms of longevity, Volkanovski's dominance, well-rounded skills, and modern level of competition make him a very real contender for the GOAT title.
Alexander the Great Volkanovski!
Moving up in weight, the chase for double champ. Status 1 of the things that elevates Volkanovski's legacy is his willingness to move up in weight and challenge himself. He took on Islam Makhachev at UFC 284 for the lightweight belt, a fight where many doubted he had a chance. But Volkanovski shocked the world by going toe-to-toe with Islam, even dropping him in the final round. He lost a close decision, but his performance only raised his stock. Few featherweight champions have dared to challenge the best best at 155 pounds, and this willingness to test himself at higher weights only adds to Volkanovski's legendary status. Is he the FWGOAT? So, is Alexander Volkanovski the greatest featherweight of all time? Arguments for yes. Beat Holloway 3 times. Dominant title defenses, elite skill set, and fight IQ. The modern level of competition. Arguments for no. Aldo has more title defenses. Longevity still favors Aldo. At this point, Volkanovski is at least tied with Aldo as the FW GOAT.
Volkanovski's doing a great job of not letting Yair Rodriguez start his escape process. He's got to keep that forward pressure going and then change the direction. There it is. See how he's dragging him to the mat there? He's kind of hanging on Yair Rodriguez.
If he continues defending his title and eventually wins the lightweight belt, there will be no debate left. What do you think? Is Volkanovski already the GOAT, or does he need more wins to surpass Aldo? Let me know in the comments.
The great